Good evening to you. I'm Danilo Evangelista, and welcome to our tropical weather outlook for September 5th, 2025. Happy Friday to you. And today we are talking about major changes and major confusion occurring in the Atlantic associated with our invests because there was a sudden downtrend today with Invest 91L, and suddenly a lot of the models no longer show 91L developing into a tropical system. Quite a major change from yesterday when I was coming to you sounding the alarm on the potential that we would have a hurricane barreling down on the islands next week. I'll go over everything related to the changes today and why it's all occurring. In fact, I want to start off right now with a satellite view of Invest 91L right now. And first off the bat, what can you see is the situation, and that is quite an anemic looking wave and an anemic looking invest right now with 91L. Not lots of convective activity at all. In fact, convective activity is very little, although in recent frames you can see here starting to bubble up a little bit. But you're just wondering probably what happened with 91L. Wasn't it supposed to be on its way to developing and probably becoming a tropical system by the end of the week into this weekend? And the answer is yes, that was supposed to be the case, but suddenly we saw quite a few things change today, and suddenly the environment became much less favorable ahead of 91L. And obviously, you could tell by the satellite presentation today compared to maybe yesterday, even. 91L definitely not very organized right now, and definitely, certainly not as organized and organizing in a way that we would want to see if we are looking for tropical development, especially compared to yesterday when I can tell you for sure that 91L was at least more developed in terms of its convection and how it was organizing. But interestingly enough, I did actually find Dr. Levi Cowan, and he posted this just about an hour and a half ago, or just over an hour and a half ago on Twitter. He said that 91L in the central Atlantic appears to have a closed circulation, albeit slightly elongated. So I guess from organization that was happening over the past several days, some of it is still remaining with 91L right now. But the one thing that he does mention, and I guess this is the biggest factor which has caused quite the sudden change in how 91L is today compared to the last several days, he says, however, deep convective activity is currently suppressed, likely due to above average low to mid-level vertical stability. So pretty much the environment right now in the Eastern Atlantic is very dry, not allowing for convective activity. The MJO is still not really baked into the Atlantic basin yet. And you can see that on a different frame here of the satellite shot, and this is the mid-level water vapor loop in the Atlantic, and and if you could spot it where 91L is over here, this is where it is. But notice just to the east of the storm, or just to the west, look at how much dry air there is ahead of it, and this is in the MDR. And there's also some shear as well. So bottom line, this is competing with dry air and not as favorable conditions as we actually thought that there would be with 91L, and it's already taking a toll on it today, given that we don't have as much organized convection today as we thought it would, and definitely not as much organized convection today as we saw even yesterday. Not even like convection that we see over here back to the east. And as a result of that, the National Hurricane Center has now downgraded 91L's chances of development, although they are still holding on to the fact that it probably has a more than likely chance that it will develop into a tropical system over the next week, even though obviously a lot of the models really significantly downtrended on 91L today. But the National Hurricane Center still has, over the next 7 days, 70% chance of development and over the next 48 hours, so the next 2 days, so going into this weekend, still a moderate chance at 40% for development. And obviously, we'll see if the chances get even lower once the 8 p.m. tropical weather outlook comes out, which will be in just about an hour and a half to 2 hours from now, and I suspect they probably will lower the chances further. But at least according to the National Hurricane Center right now, over the next several days, this still has a chance of development. So we'll see if things change. But definitely quite an interesting turn of events here with 91L today. And it gets even more interesting when we look at the models, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But let's really quickly go on over to the Eastern Pacific because there's still activity to track right now, except with Lorena. Pretty much completely died off, and died off definitely earlier than I think people were expecting. It was supposed to make landfall earlier this morning and overnight last night over the Baja Peninsula, but it ended up just dying off right off the coast of Mexico. But moisture from Lorena, as I said, would bring heavy rainfall to northwestern Mexico into southwestern Arizona and the southwestern U.S. in general. That is still happening, but Lorena has now died off and is no longer a tropical system on the NHC tropical weather bulletin. So no need to worry about Lorena as a direct entity anymore, but we do have to worry about Hurricane Kiko, which is now beginning to re-intensify again. Maximum sustained winds are at 130 miles per hour, and I say that because it did get lowered in intensity earlier today. It did, I believe, undergo an eye wall replacement cycle yesterday, but now it's completed it, and we are seeing quite intensification occur now, and this will probably become a moderate to high-end Category 4 hurricane. Of course, if conditions allow over the next day or so, I would not be surprised, and I'll show you why as we look at satellite in a moment. And then we have a new area of interest in which we might have development occur here in the Eastern Pacific. So it looks like the gravy train of activity in the Pacific still continuing as of this moment. But here's a satellite image of Hurricane Kiko, and yes, you could tell that it is definitely going to intensify further. Has a very, very classic looking hurricane shape right now. It's almost looking like it's trying to become an annular hurricane. And what I mean by that is shedding all of its bands and becoming a perfectly round circular donut with a very round eye. And that's certainly what's happened, especially here in the last few frames. We even see here some of the CDO begin to expand and fill in. So basically, Kiko is beginning to re-intensify again. It's now up to Category 4 status. Probably will continue to re-intensify for at least a day or so, and then probably remain a major hurricane up until the end of the weekend, according to the National Hurricane Center. Then it will begin to weaken. But you do notice here as we head into next week, this does track north of Hawaii, but portions of the Hawaiian Islands are in the National Hurricane Center forecast cone, and that should be a reminder to you now that the forecast cone that you see here by the National Hurricane Center is an overall outline area of where the center of a storm might track, not necessarily the wind field and the expansiveness of the storm, if you know what I mean. So the fact that some of the Hawaiian Islands here are in the forecast cone for Hurricane Kiko, that means that there is a chance that the track might deviate, and we might see some impacts to the Hawaiian Islands. Not a huge chance right now. I mean, the general center of the forecast still takes us north of the Hawaiian Islands, and obviously we hope that that'll remain the case. But the chance is there, and we're going to have to watch as we head into next week to see how things play out here in the Hawaiian Islands. But definitely keep an eye out on Kiko over the next several days. Now let's get back to the Atlantic, though, because we obviously have Invest 99L, 91L actually, and I'm just going to take you through the 12Z model run, or this is actually the 0Z run from the European today. Let me show you what the 12Z shows. And I'm just going to take you through what it has over the next several days. And yeah, that's right. Nothing. Definitely, especially not compared to yesterday when the European was showing a hurricane here in the MDR, barreling towards the Caribbean islands as it was showing yesterday. And a lot of people were starting to get concerned and starting to sound the alarm bells of, and I did too, about potentially, as we head into next week, the fact that we're going to have to watch for a potential hurricane impact here in the Caribbean. But no longer does the European show that today. And I'm going to, again, play you through the next several days here. And you can kind of track the wave feature associated with 91L. And nothing, absolutely no development occurs here over the next several days. Quite a turnaround from what we saw yesterday. And I'll show you, let me actually compare you hour by hour here on the European. Or at least stuck on a specific frame, so I could show you a decent comparison from today to yesterday. Here's the 12Z run from today. Again, this is probably here near the islands. If you look at this area here, this is probably the wave energy associated with whatever will be left of 91L by then. Definitely not a fully developed tropical system like it showed on the European, especially when you compare to what the European had this time yesterday. And I'm using the 0Z run yesterday because that was the strongest run, I believe, from yesterday. And quite the astonishing comparison from the 12Z today to the European yesterday. We go from a pretty decent hurricane and a probably pretty quickly intensifying one on its approach to the islands to a mere weak open tropical wave. And it's not just the European that has such a dramatic downturn in the models today. Let me show you what the GFS shows, and I'm only going to show you the European and the GFS because those are honestly the only two main models that really matter. And we could also look at the AI models too, but maybe we'll do that another time. Just let's stick to the European and GFS for today. And let me show you what this is yesterday. Here's what let's see what the 12Z GFS has. The 18Z GFS, which is currently right now running, has. And again, nothing. And let me actually bring you back to what the 12Z GFS has. And also nothing. I mean, they're a little bit more aggressive than the European in that they show at least some development still trying to occur as this heads into the islands. But then, as soon as it gets to the Caribbean, just completely fades into oblivion, and absolutely nothing significant at all over the entire week time frame here on the GFS. You don't get anything at all very significant out of 91L, not especially the potentially powerful hurricane that the GFS was showing yesterday as well, heading towards the islands. And again, I'll show you the comparison of the GFS from the 12Z run today, which I just showed you. This run here is the 12Z run. And this is the 12Z run at hour 120, just comparing you a still frame. 12Z today, nothing, open tropical wave, maybe a more aggressive one, but still probably only a tropical wave and definitely not a potent hurricane compared to the 12Z run yesterday, a potent hurricane, and definitely an intensifying one, probably category 1, category 2 status already at this time. And again, just a comparison from the model runs from yesterday and today, quite a significant downtrend that occurred on all of the models. And it really seems like it's because of the environment suddenly becoming much less favorable with 91L. And the question will remain is, could this potentially try to revive itself? Maybe are the models just overreacting to the fact that, the environment was much less favorable today, and because of that, we saw quite a lot of deorganization occur with 91L. certainly possible. And maybe it'll regather itself tonight, overnight, and suddenly tomorrow, um, uh, come back, and suddenly the models will be back to showing a pretty decent system heading into the islands as we head into next week. We'll see, but lots of changes that definitely happened today, and it's definitely causing a lot of confusion. But this is the beauty of the tropics. This is the beauty of Mother Nature. Things can change quite a bit, but I still would not let my guard down, especially if you are in the Caribbean. I would still watch this wave very closely, and we'll see if things change again dramatically between today and tomorrow, and the environment somehow becomes more favorable, or the models have some sort of correction, and we start to see them showing development again. We'll just see how the model runs are overnight, and I'll definitely be sure to update you tomorrow. So if you want to stay tuned for that, again, please, as I always do every single video, I really recommend that you like this video, comment, and especially subscribe, especially if you are new to the channel and you want to get more updates like whatever I might post on whatever happens tomorrow. So please make sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bells to get videos whenever I upload them. But with that being said, I'm going to end it off for today and this evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of today while it lasts. And I hope to see you all tomorrow.